Hi everyone, welcome to FemTechConf 2021. I'm so excited to have you here. Today I'll be talking to you on how you can pivot your career for growth, and also I'll be sharing my journey, how I was able to pivot in my career from being a system administrator to an accomplished DevOps engineer. Earlier on in my career, I was a system administrator, like I said. Actually, I was an help desk support analyst. I started with my network is not working, my cable is not working. I started with troubleshooting issues like this. And then gradually, I moved to becoming a system administrator, and I was really happy where I was. I was an high achiever. I was enjoying my job. I was a high performer. I was very energetic. I was the go-to girl in the office then because I was superb. I loved what I was doing. But then, after I did that for several years, being a system administrator, it became a mundane task for me. It became something I was no longer enjoying. I lost every sense of motivation. I was very tired. I was no longer looking forward to going to the office. I didn't have any sense of fulfillment. My passion was gone. I was not enjoying my job any longer. So then I told myself, Bukola, it's time for change. It's time for you to make a change because there's no point me doing what I wasn't enjoying. So what did I do? I started researching. I started checking online for career paths I could explore. I realized that there was a career path which was the DevOps space, the DevOps engineering space, that is more valued in the market space, and then that you need a lot of skill sets to be able to be in that career path. So I started checking the different IT fields. I did a lot of research online to check the different IT fields that are available for me to switch into. I checked the different opportunities in these fields for growth. I tried to figure out where my passion lies in all of this. I made a comparison of the skills in need, and I realized that the DevOps space is a place I would really like to be because the skills, what I already had, and it sounded like something I would really like to explore. So I set a goal for myself. I set a goal of 6 months for me to be able to learn the new skills that are needed for me to be a successful DevOps engineer. I started learning online. I started researching online, learning a lot of technologies that are needed for the DevOps space. After 6 months, I realized that I've achieved a lot of the goals I set for myself. And then I walked up to my manager and I approached him. I told him I wanted to move to the DevOps because there was a DevOps unit in the organization I was working with then. I told him I wanted to switch to the DevOps team, and I was allowed to switch. It was an amazing decision I made. Was it easy? No, it was not easy at all. It was stressful because I had to read a lot of stuff. I had to research. I had to study a lot of technologies alongside with the fact that I had to also do my work as a system administrator back then. But it was absolutely worth it. It's been an amazing ride. Ever since I became a DevOps engineer, I've been so fulfilled in what I do. I love my job. I love the fact that as a DevOps engineer, I'm very valued in the market space because I have to learn a lot of skills in that space. So it was really worth it. What kept me moving? What kept me going? It's my favorite quote. My favorite quote has always been, self-motivation is the best motivation. I tell you, without self-motivation, you can hardly achieve anything. If I had no self-motivation, I would have given up. I would have lost my sense of motivation, but my personal drive. But because I had self-motivation, even when the going was tough, even when sometimes I was tired of all of the workload and the midnight study and all of it, but I still kept at it because I had to motivate myself. So now let me introduce myself to you. My name is Bukola Johnson. I'm a DevOps engineer, an accomplished one at that. I work with Any9s as a DevOps engineer. Any9s is a company that is focused on planning, building, and operating modern application developer platform. I recently moved from Nigeria to Germany, and I love it here. I must tell you, it's amazing. Everything is different and beautiful. It's a beautiful city. I'm also an ambassador of Google for Google Women Tech Maker Program. At Google Women Tech Maker Program, we provide visibility, community, and resources for women in technology. As my free time, I also mentor ladies that are willing to move to tech, because my passion for seeing a lot of women in tech made me realize that there are actually very few women in the tech space. So I decided to use my time to mentor these ladies that are trying to find their path in the tech space. I love doing that a lot because I love to pass knowledge to people that are trying to learn from me. When I'm not doing all of this, I write in my Medium. I write about technologies, I write about DevOps technologies, and I also tweet about this. Kindly follow me on my social media pages, and I would really like to connect with all of you. So let's ride on. What is career pivots? According to Jenny Blake, the author of Pivots, the only move that matters is your next one. She says that career pivot is a purposeful shift in a new, related direction that one makes by doubling down on what is already working. So what does that mean? Career pivot is a purposeful shift. Like I shared in my story when I was trying to move from being a system administrator to being a DevOps engineer, I had to make a purposeful shift. So it's an intentional decision. I had to make an intentional decision to switch from being a system administrator because I was tired as a system administrator and I was not having any sense of fulfillment. So I thought to myself that how could I help my career for me to become happy and the bubbling career person and exciting person I used to be. So I made a purposeful shift. In order for you to pivot in your career, you have to make a purposeful shift, and you also have to be intentional about it. You can double down on what is already working, and that was basically what I did. I already was a successful system administrator that became tired. I still had my skills that I could double down on. So one of the skills I was able to double down on was my troubleshooting skills. As a system administrator, I was very good at troubleshooting, even till now.
A few minutes later.
And I understood that as a DevOps engineer, you need to also be good at troubleshooting. So I was able to use that to leverage on that to pivot in my career into becoming a successful DevOps engineer. Maybe you are here and you have been thinking, how do I pivot in my career? Just like I did, I would like to run you through 3 areas I focused on, 3 principles I applied in order for me to pivot in my career and to make that bold shift. And the first one is the what. What do you want to pivot into? And then we'll move into why would you like to pivot? And finally, we'll talk about how do you actually pivot? How do you make that bold step? So let's move on. What do I want to pivot into? I would like you to ask yourself today, what would you like to pivot into? That was the very first question I asked myself when I was trying to move from being a system administrator to a DevOps engineer. I first checked all the tech fields that are available for me. And I decided the one I wanted to do. I decided the one I had passion for, that I would love, that I also had some related skills in that line. So that's the very first thing you should do. To answer what you want to pivot into, check what you love to do. What do you enjoy doing? What are you passionate about? What are your driving force? What are the things that drive you as an individual? And also, what are you good at? So ask yourself these three questions. What am I good at as an individual? For you to pivot, for you to know what you want to pivot into, and by answering all of these three questions, then you are able to know what you want to pivot into. After you have answered these three questions, you then move ahead to do some research. Because in answering the question also, after you have discovered what you like to do, your passion and what you love and what drives you, you need to research about all of this in order to streamline your choices. So you can research about companies, check different companies, check what they do, check their employees, what the employees are doing, check for what they are doing that you could like to do as well. Because without checking, you can't possibly know the fields that you can explore. You can check all of this online. Then you should research about the different roles, the different job description. When you are looking at the roles, you check the job description to see if there are some things you might not like to do. Like maybe you're an individual that you don't like documentation and you want to be a business analyst, or you want to be a writer. You don't like to document. That's a red signal for you that you might not really enjoy doing that work. So you need to research about the job description, the roles, and then you should talk to people in the roles you're trying to pivot into. Because by talking to them, they already have more experience than you. They have been there, and you are trying to be where they are. So you should discuss with them. I remember while I was trying to switch into the DevOps space, I talked to some of the people I met online. Like randomly, I go on LinkedIn, I send them friend requests. I write a note in my friend request when I'm sending it to connect with them, the reason I'm trying to connect, and the questions I would like them to answer. When you have done all of this, the next thing is for you to know why you would like to pivot. Why would you like to make that move in your career? Why would you like to be at that place in your career? And in order to answer the why, you will need to focus on these questions. The reason you might want to move might be because you're bored of what you're doing. It could be different for everybody. For me, I was bored of being a system administrator because I have done it for several years, and it became like I no longer enjoyed what I was doing. It became so repetitive for me. So I was actually tired of it. For you, it could be something else. It could be that you are just bored of the company and you want to move to another company. You want to work with another company, or you want to mix with a new set of people, or you're tired of the circle you are. It could be different thing, but you need to know the why, because the why you want to pivot would be your driving force by the time you feel like giving up. But when you know why you are making that move, that would encourage you to keep moving despite the challenges you might encounter. Finally, we would look at how to make a career pivot. How can you actually make this pivot in your career? After you have identified what you want to do, and you have identified why you want to do that thing, like when I identified what I wanted to pivot into, that was the DevOps space. I identified why I was moving to DevOps engineering space. I had to know how. Because if you know the why and you know the what, and you don't know how to actually pivot or how to make that bold step, that bold switch, then there's little or nothing you can actually achieve. So this is really very important. The first thing I would encourage you to do in knowing how you can pivot in your career is first you need to identify your transferable skills. When I say transferable skills, I mean skills you already have in your present job that can be useful for you in your next job that you are moving into. I'll take myself for example. When I was moving into, like I mentioned earlier, when I was moving into the DevOps space, I knew I was very good at troubleshooting. I mean, just give me any issue, I would always find a solution to it because I can always go online and do a lot of research and Google around it, check Stack Overflow, check for resources online. I was very good at troubleshooting. I loved to troubleshoot. I mean, when I have issues, I can stay up at night to make sure I fix it before I become happy. So that was my transferable skill I took in with me while I was trying to switch. And I leveraged on that when I was looking for opportunities in the DevOps space. So my advice for you is to identify your top 3 transferable skills. For yours, it could be different. It could be that maybe you're a marketing person that is trying to move into the tech space. Like I tell everyone, anyone can move into the tech space actually. It's just for you to be dedicated and to research and to be ready to learn. And in the marketing space, you might have been a leader. Maybe you were leading your team. Yes, you don't have technical skills yet, but you have leadership skills. You could leverage on that when you're talking to your potential employers. Tell them that you have led a team and you did this, you did that for your team while you were leading the team. That's one of your transferable skills. Identify the other ones you have because that will make you really marketable. They are your marketable skills that you can leverage on pending the time when you build more skills in the space you're trying to pivot into. And then the next thing I would like you to do is to skill up. That cannot be overemphasized. In our space, in the tech space, you need to keep studying, you need to keep researching, you need to constantly learn new skills. I'm sure it's the same for the other career areas as well. You need to constantly skill up. Don't you ever wait for your employer to send you on training. Yes, if your employer is willing to send you on training, it's a plus, it's a bonus, it's a good thing. But if your employer is not sending you on training, please train yourself. You don't have to break the bank to go for training. You don't have to go for international training before you can skill up. You can just go online. All you need is a laptop and a stable internet connection. For me, I use different learning resources. I use Udemy. I learn on YouTube. There are so many resources online. There are official documentation as well. If you are trying to learn a new skill, you can go to the official documentation website and read about it. Because the more worth that you bring to the table, the greater the gains and opportunity you are going to face down the road. So invest in yourself and keep learning, keep studying. Personal development is really important. It's very important. You cannot underestimate the value you give to yourself when you do all of this. The next thing after you have skilled up and you are still skilling up and you're still reading and studying is that you have to set a goal for yourself. Define project-based goals. What do I mean by this? Make sure your goals are smart, they are measurable, they are specific, they are attainable, they are time-based, and you can measure your goals. When I was trying to switch into the DevOps space, I set a goal for myself. I set a goal of 6 months for myself. Yours could be a short-term goal of 2 months. It could be a long-term goal of 1 year. It could be a long-term goal of 2 years. Just ensure that you are not too hard on yourself. While you're setting this goal, make sure they are goals that are realistic, that you can actually achieve. In as much as we want to be the best at what we do, we want to achieve a lot of things, we should also have fun while doing it. I mean, you should relax a bit. Don't be too strict on yourself, but always make sure you set a goal for yourself because metrics without goals can actually be a waste. What I do most times is when I'm trying to achieve a new thing in my career, I list them out. When you set a goal, you can list them out like I do as well. And once you have achieved one, just tick the box and say achieved, done and dusted. That kind of gives me a sense of fulfillment and joy that, oh, go girl, you have done this. If you can do this, you can do the other ones. So you can just be like me and have a checkbox that you tick off maybe on your laptop or on your phone or even on your wall, maybe in front of your screen where you sit. It gives you a sense of fulfillment that you are really doing something. And then the next thing I would really want you to do, as you have set a goal for yourself and working towards that goal, while you're working towards achieving your goal, try to build your network. How do you build your network? You can build your network by meeting people, talking to people that are doing what you are already doing. I mentioned earlier that when I was trying to move into the DevOps space, I reached out to some people on LinkedIn. I mean, random people. I checked what they are doing. I saw that it's something I would like to do. I researched about them, and I sent them friend requests. I talked to them. The reason you're talking to them is because without the right network, it's really going to be a slow upward climb. You need to be in the right circle. You need to be in the circle of people that can motivate you. Don't be in the circle of people that when you're tired, they're also tired. You want to be in a circle of people that when you are tired or you've lost motivation or you don't want to move forward, they are pushing you, they are challenging you. You don't want to be yes, it's good to be the best person, but you don't want to be the best person in your cycle. Like, you want to have people you can look up to. You want to have people you can learn from. So you need to build your network. It's really important because you can leverage your network, your connections to pivot through networking. One of the ways you can build your network, and what has helped me so far, is to attend local meetings. Check for local meetups in your area or in your state or wherever you are that are doing things that are connected with what you're trying to move into. Maybe there's a local meetup that is talking about how to be a successful product designer, and then you're trying to be a product design person. That's an opportunity for you to meet with people in that field. And do yourself a favor. Each time you go for this meetup, ensure that you talk to at least three people, connect with them. And after the meetup, ensure that you get their LinkedIn profile and connect with them on LinkedIn and send them a message, a follow-up message to let them know that you're excited to talk to them at the meetup, and then you're also looking forward being in their network, that you will really be excited to be their friend on LinkedIn, to be their connection on LinkedIn. Also, it's really important that in the company you are, you build your internal network in your present company. The next thing I would like you to do after you have built your network, it's a continuous process. You keep building your network. I still build my network. I still connect with people that I would like to be connected with. You have to keep your online presence up to date. What do I mean by this? Join conversations online. Don't just say, oh, I'm good, I'm fine on my own, in my house, in my father's house, or in my own house. I can do all by myself. No way. No man is an island. You need to keep your online presence up to date. There's no way people can know what you're doing if you are just doing it on your laptop. You're not attending events. You're not pushing what's your portfolio, your project online. How do you keep your online presence up to date? One of the ways that I know that have helped me, which I'm going to encourage you to also do the same, is to join conversations online. Join conversations that are relating to your field or the field you want to pivot into, or the company, maybe you're trying to join a new company. Join conversations online. You can use Twitter is a very good tool. I mean, like, Twitter is taking over everywhere. By doing hashtag something, it just is everywhere. Maybe you want to become a UI UX design person, or you want to be a front-end developer, you can do hashtag front-end. Or maybe you're trying to learn a particular tool, you can do hashtag that thing. Or maybe you're trying to learn about a company, you can do hashtag the company, and then you'll see a lot of suggestions that Twitter will bring for you. You can tweet about stuff, you can like people's tweets, you can follow them. You should follow them, actually, not like you can follow them. Follow people that motivate you, people that are doing what you would like to do. Follow them, retweet their tweets, like their tweets. Companies, you can go to some companies' page on Twitter, retweet their tweets, things that they are talking about. This will help you make your online presence to be up to date. You should also build your project portfolio online. What do I mean by this? When you're trying to look for a job, The companies or the employer that is trying to recruit you might ask you, they might not even ask you, they would just check randomly online for the work you have done before. So maybe you have some personal gigs that you do, personal work, projects that you've done for your friends or for company, an individual project or volunteer work. Push them to your online repository. Ensure you keep your presence up to date online so that people, when they do a random Google search for you, what would it bring up? What would a Google search of your name bring up for them? Ensure you try to write technical articles. In doing this, you try to pass down the knowledge you have to other people. And this is really helpful. This is a way to give back to the community that can also help you to pivot in your career. Try to write about technologies or tools you're using, or maybe a new tool that you figured out, or maybe you attended a conference. Write about it, talk about it, post your blogs on your page, on your social media page, post the link, ask people to follow you, share it with your friends and your network. And I encourage you to also give talks. Companies or events or conferences bring out call for proposal a lot of time. Summon courage and apply for all of this. This is my first talk ever that I'm giving at a conference. And I had to just give this talk because I believe that there are so many ladies out there that would benefit from my career and how I was able to move out, and how I was able to move from being a help desk person, from my cable is not working to my laptop is not working to my printer is not printing, to being an accomplished DevOps engineer where I help companies to ensure that their services are reliable, available, and stable. So you should give talks because you would be helping someone by giving talk, and you would also be helping yourself, building up yourself as well. Now, after you've done all of this, the next thing for you to do is to prepare your elevator pitch. What do I mean by elevator pitch? This is a kind of pitch that's, it's a 1 minute talk that you're talking to a company or the CEO of the company you would like to work for. In your elevator pitch, you should have things like who are you, who you are as an individual. You should talk about how you have made an impact in your industry or in your company or in the space you are. Talk about what sets you apart from the competition. And then talk about what you are seeking. And why should the company hire you? Why do you think you are different from your competition? What value are you bringing to the company? You have to be confident in answering all of this. And you have to rehearse this and be sure you can answer it in 1 minute. Because imagine yourself entering the lift and meeting with the CEO of the company you are trying to apply to or the company you want to be. He doesn't have much time. He just has to follow. Maybe he wants to come down on the next floor or 5 floors afterwards, after you. You need to have rehearsed this so that you don't want to start saying stories. You have to just let him know what you can offer, what you have offered before, why he should hire you. I gave a sample of my elevator pitch. In this sample, I said who I am. I have made an impact. What sets me apart? My name is Bukola. I'm a DevOps engineer with XYZ company. I was responsible for maintaining application for company XYZ and migrating of services from on-prem to the cloud, thereby enhancing the availability of services for my company. I am a self-taught engineer and I am looking out for a great company where I can help maintain the stability of their services and also add value to the company. So you can write about yourself as well. Just make it very brief, 3 to 4 sentences that you can finish in 1 minute. After you've done all of this preparation, what is the next thing? You need to actually discover opportunities. You need to apply for the job. How do you apply for all of these jobs? Check online, check job sites. There are so many of them. Check for vacancies. Check on social media. Social media cannot be overemphasized because these days, a lot of things happen on social media. Check Twitter, hashtag it, the role you're trying to apply for, because a lot of times employees come on Twitter and say, oh, my company is recruiting for so and so, my company, or I myself am recruiting for this role. If you would like to be part of my company, it's like, or quote these tweets or whatever. So you can check all of this. Also check on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has the job page where you can check for jobs that you're trying to apply for. Inform your network about your intention. That is really very important because most times companies don't even post the job vacancy on their websites. They tell their employees to like refer people. There's this thing called employee referral program whereby companies believe that if you can refer someone, that means you trust that person, you have worked with that person already, instead of going through the process of getting random CVs online. And another option is for you to check the company career page. You can also submit unsolicited application, even if the company is not recruiting and maybe you like what they do, you can go to their page and send a mail to the contact's email address or the HR, but always ensure you add a cover letter to this because this is what will stand you out from the crowd. Don't forget to actually apply for your dream job after you've done all of this and you're trying to pivot. Apply for that dream job because it's really important. And then finally, I'll leave this with you. Get your mindsets right. Without the right mindset, we can achieve nothing. Get your mindset right. And never, ever let fear stop you. If I had let fear stop me, I wouldn't have been where I am today. I never let fear stop me. I go for it when I want to achieve it. So I encourage you to do the same. Go for it. Don't ever let fear stop you. Believe you can, and you will. Thank you.